Hello, Libra. Thank you for joining me here at Destiny Guided Tarot. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Of course, as a general, it cannot resonate for everybody, so take what fits and throw the rest away. If you like, you can also view your other placements. If you're not sure what they are, you can go to Cafe Astrology and find out for free. And I've linked that for you below in the description box. So let's get started. Again, this is going to be for Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Messages, please, for January, beginning with the first week. We start with the Ace of Wands. Star. 10 Pentacles. I'm liking the way this looks so far. It's looking very positive. Hermit, and one more, please. Nope, that's far too many. That is me being clumsy. Try that again. One more, please. There we go. 5 of Swords. Alright, so let's take a look, shall we? Alright, so the first week begins with the Ace of Wands, suggesting a spark, something new trying to come into your life. This could be a fresh idea, a creative urge, or a sudden motivation to act. It often feels exciting and urgent, like a moment where you think, I want to do this now. For example, you might feel inspired to start a project, speak up about an idea, or explore a new path that wasn't on your radar before. Now, the Star follows, softening and guiding that spark. This card brings hope, healing, and faith in the future. It suggests that this new beginning isn't random. It's aligned with a deeper sense of renewal. Even if you've been discouraged recently, the Star says you're starting to believe again. For instance, after a tough period, you may feel optimism returning or a sense that things really can improve if you stay true to yourself. And then we arrive at the 10 of Pentacles, which grounds all that inspiration into something lasting. This card speaks of stability, long-term success, and building something meaningful over time. It can point to security, financially, emotional, or familial. In a practical sense, this could mean turning a creative idea into something sustainable, or making choices that support your future rather than just short-term excitement. However, the Hermit suggests a pause. After seeing what's possible, you're called to step back and reflect. This isn't isolation for its own sake, but intentional solitude to gain clarity. You may need to ask yourself why you're pursuing this path and whether it truly aligns with your values. An example might be choosing to take time alone to think rather than immediately following outside advice or pressure. Finally, the 5 of Swords introduces tension. This card often represents conflict, misunderstandings, or winning at a cost. It can suggest that not everyone will agree with your choices, or that there's a risk of ego-driven decisions. For example, you might find yourself in an argument where you technically win, but your relationship suffers. Or you realize that proving a point isn't as important as keeping the peace. So overall, this week tells of inspired beginnings and hopeful visions that can lead to lasting stability, but only if you're willing to reflect deeply and avoid unnecessary conflict. The lesson here may be about choosing integrity and self-awareness over competition or pride, ensuring that what you build doesn't come at the expense of your inner peace or your connections with others. So let's have a look at week 2, shall we? Again, messages please for Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus for the second week of January. 1. And this sucker wanted to jump out too. Strength. We have the 3 of Wands. Of Wands. And then one more, please. That one right there sticking out. Okay. And the 5 of Swords. So, let's see what this tells us. So the second week opens with the Sun, illuminating the situation with clarity, warmth, and confidence. This suggests a period where things are out in the open. You can see the truth clearly, and there's a sense of joy or relief. You may be feeling more like yourself, recognized for who you are, or simply lighter than before. For example, a project might finally be acknowledged, or a relationship may move into a more honest, open phase. And then next comes Strength, which shows that this happiness isn't loud or forceful. It's rooted in inner calm and emotional resilience. You're being asked to respond with patience, compassion, and quiet confidence rather than brute force. In practice, this could mean staying kind during a stressful moment or choosing understanding over reacting defensively. Your strength here is knowing you don't need to prove anything. The 3 of Wands shifts the focus toward expansion and foresight. You're looking ahead, considering what comes next, and waiting for results from efforts that you've already made. There's a sense of anticipation, like standing on the shore watching for ships to return. For example, you might be waiting to hear back about an opportunity or planning how to grow beyond your current situation. And then the energy becomes heavier with the 10 of Wands. Despite the optimism, you may be carrying too much on your shoulders. Responsibilities pile up, and what once felt exciting now feels exhausting. This could show up as taking on too many roles, saying yes too often, or trying to hold everything together by yourself. It's a sign that something needs to be delegated, released, or restructured. And finally, we have the 5 of Swords, warning of conflict or hollow victories. Under stress, there's a risk of arguments, power struggles, or pushing too hard just to win. This card suggests that if you're overwhelmed, you might snap or become defensive, leading to outcomes that feel unsatisfying, even if you're technically right. For instance, you might get your way in a disagreement, but damage trust or morale in the process. So overall, this second week tells about genuine positivity and inner strength, leading toward growth, but with a caution. If you carry too much, that pressure can turn into conflict. So the message here is to protect your joy, Sun, by using gentle strength, planning wisely with the 3 Wands, lightening your load, and then choosing peace over unnecessary battles. Okay, so let's take a look at week 3. And this is for Libra. Messages, please. Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus for the 3rd week of January. Don't want to dump a whole pile of them. Just like that. That is what I would call a pile. Okay. Since nobody's jumping, we do like so. There's that 5 of Wands, the Tower, the 4 of Swords. This looks like a bit of a week here for you. Have a look and see exactly what it's trying to tell us. Interesting. So the 3rd week begins with the 5 of Wands, signaling tension, competition, or scattered energy. There may be multiple voices, opinions, or priorities all clashing at once. This can look like arguments, misunderstandings, or simply everyone pulling in different directions. For example, you might feel caught in group drama, workplace rivalry, or internal conflict where you're unsure which desire to follow. This tension builds until it reaches the tower, a moment of sudden disruption or truth that can't be ignored. Something unstable breaks down, an illusion, a situation, or a belief you once relied on. While this can feel shocking or chaotic, it's often necessary. For instance, an argument might expose a deeper issue. A plan could fall apart unexpectedly, or a realization hits that changes how you see the past. Now, after all this upheaval comes the Four of Swords, offering a chance to pause and recover. You are encouraged to rest, withdraw, and process what just happened. This is not the time for immediate action, but for mental and emotional healing. You might take space from others, step away from a stressful environment, or spend time reflecting quietly so you can regain clarity. Now from that stillness emerges the Six of Cups, bringing comfort through familiarity, memories, or emotional innocence. This card suggests looking to the past for grounding, remembering who you were before things became complicated. You might reconnect with an old friend, revisit a hobby you loved as a kid, or simply allow yourself to feel softer emotions like nostalgia and kindness. It can also point to forgiveness, especially after turmoil. And then finally we have the Page of Swords, which introduces curiosity and a fresh mental perspective. With lessons learned, you're ready to approach the situation with open eyes and a questioning mind. This card encourages honest communication, learning, and staying alert. For example, you might ask new questions instead of assuming answers, seek information before reacting, or approach future conflicts with more awareness and clarity. So overall, this week tells a story of conflict leading to a necessary breakdown, followed by rest, emotional reconnection, and then renewed curiosity. The message is that even disruptive moments can clear the way for insight and growth, if you give yourself the time to heal and remain open to learning from what comes next. So let's have a look here at the final week. Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Fourth week of January. Messages, please. Thank you. Number 1. Sword 3. Spear 5. Spiral Tower. Another tower, my goodness. Grail 2 and one more, please. On to Fallout. There we go. And the Grail Queen. Alrighty, let's take a look, shall we? So this final week opens with the Sword 3, pointing to a moment of emotional pain or difficult truth. This card often reflects heartbreak, disappointment, or the realization that something isn't what you hoped it would be. It may not always be dramatic. Sometimes it's a quiet ache, like feeling left out, or misunderstood, or let down. For example, you might discover someone didn't support you the way you expected, or you're coming to terms with words that can't be taken back. Next comes Spear 5, which adds tension and conflict to that emotional wound. This card suggests disagreements, clashing perspectives, or scattered energy where everyone is fighting to be heard. It can show external arguments or internal turmoil. For instance, you might find yourself defending your feelings, competing for validation, or caught in a situation where no one seems to be listening, only reacting. All of this builds into the Spiral Tower, a powerful symbol of sudden change and transformation. Unlike a straight collapse, the spiral suggests a lesson that repeats until it's truly learned. Something breaks down here, an assumption, a relationship dynamic, or a belief about how things should be. This could look like a turning point conversation, an unexpected ending, or a realization that forces you to see the situation from a completely different angle. After the upheaval, the energy softens with the Grail too. All right. This card brings connection, mutual understanding, and emotional balance. It suggests that once the truth is cleared and the chaos settles, there's space for genuine exchange. This could mean reconciliation, a heartfelt conversation, or forming a new bond that feels more equal and honest than before. In some cases, it may even represent learning to meet yourself with compassion. And finally, the reading settles into Grail Queen, a figure of emotional maturity, empathy, and intuitive wisdom. This card shows growth. You're no longer reacting from hurt, but responding from understanding. You may become the calm presence in an emotional situation, offering support without losing yourself. For example, you might set gentle boundaries, listening without absorbing others' emotions, or trust your intuition instead of overthinking. So overall, this final week tells about emotional pain and conflict, leading to a transformative awakening, followed by a deeper connection and emotional wisdom, meaning the lesson here is that while heartbreak and chaos can feel overwhelming, they often clear the way for more authentic relationships and for becoming more compassionate, grounded, and emotionally aware than before. So there you have it. I hope, Libra, you found this helpful or fun or whatever. If you liked it, please do give it a thumbs up. That helps to get the message out there. And I thank you again for joining me, and I hope to see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.